Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Offsides Podcast. I'm joined with Pete. Pete, how you feeling, brother?
Good, good. Season's almost over, yo.
Also, America. Pete is 1 year older. Happy belated birthday on Friday, brother. You know what I'm saying? Happy belated.
Appreciate it.
And then June's birthday's today. That's why he's not on right now. So happy birthday to him too. Let's not waste no time, man. Divisional rounds went past. We talked about a little bit what we expected to see, who we thought can upset. Were you surprised that the Commanders beat the Lions?
Yeah, but not that they just won, but how they won. They were dominant in this game. They were dominant. It was in they kind of, they took it to them. They kind of controlled the tempo, and it showed, man. It showed. Detroit, when they did score, they kind of have to work for it. It seemed like things were coming easier for the Commanders. Like I was watching it with some friends, and one of my boys was like, "Yo, I think." He said, I'm surprised it's close. And I said, no, he said, he said, I'm surprised it's close. And I said, I'm not surprised it's close. I'm surprised they're winning. And this was when they were just up, I think maybe 3 points, maybe a touchdown. But then they pulled away.
Mhm.
They really, they put it on them, man. They really did. Not something I expected. A close game. Again, I was surprised that they were winning, not that it was close. I thought they would keep up with them. But the magic, the home field magic ran out in Detroit. The two games they did lose was at home.
Mhm.
So what happens in the
Um,
playoffs?
I think that golf picked the worst day to shit the bed, bro.
I mean, absolutely.
I was very surprised in the manner that Commanders won. Um, I said this to June and from Play Call, and I said that Jaden didn't look like the rookie. Golf did. Jaden looked in control. He looked in command. And I know a lot of people want to criticize that some passes weren't downfield like that. There were screen passes, there were intermediate passes, but at the end of the day, when we get on this podcast or any sports network, when you hear him talk, what they say, win the game. Whether that's dink and dunking, whether that's throwing the ball downfield, whether that's running it 100 times, only passing 20, as long as you win the game, that's what that matters. And I think that's what the Commanders did. Um, the Lions defense, I guess all those injuries finally caught up to them. They couldn't get a stop. They couldn't, they didn't get no turnovers. Um, I was surprised. I had the Lions picked to go to Super Bowl and winning it, and I just lost out on possibly winning $6,000. So uh, it was a big surprise to me. But it was like you said, it was more in the manner of how they lost. It didn't come down to like a stupid fourth and something instead of kicking the field goal. It didn't come down to anything like that. Like it's a judgmental play call. It came down to piss poor playing, and the Commanders played great. I didn't like the play calling from the Lions. And I guess off season we're going to talk about this topic, but mostly to me, I just feel like they weren't the same Lions team we saw throughout the whole season, And but the Commanders, they're stroking at the right time. Pause. They're getting it going, and they look good, man. They look good.
Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth,
That's
and
true.
the Lions got punched in the mouth
That's true.
right off the jump. They got punched in the mouth, and they were like, "Oh shit!" And then couldn't recover, man.
Nah, no, they couldn't. And now that I think they have a lot of good pieces to keep going. Hopefully next year they're not riddled with injuries. You know what I'm saying? Look what you did, riddled with injuries. Um, who's not to say you can't do that next year with all your players back? You know what I'm saying?
Well, for me, I look at it this way: they're gonna lose both coordinators.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, to me, a little bit like Nick Sirianni, kind of like delegates. Look
Hmm.
what happened to the Eagles when when they went to Super Bowl, lost both their coordinators. This could happen to the Lions again. This could happen to the Lions next year. You know what I mean? Because Dan Campbell is not calling plays on defense or offense. He's kind of just more like delegating. Let's see how he recover, like how he adjusts to that when they get two new coordinators. Are they going to be the same type of explosive team as they've been the last couple of years? We'll see. But it could affect them the same way if it affected Sirianni, because I think they're very similar in the sense that they don't really have a specialty like Shanahan and McVay. Those guys call the plays, you know what I mean? And they're the head coach.
Yeah.
But it's Robert Saleh was a defensive coordinator, was a defensive coach. He called the defense, and he was the head coach. He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next year. They do have the pieces, but
Yeah, coaching matters. They're saying that Goff said he wants to have more of a say or just involved, I should say, in what offensive coordinator comes. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We've talked about how, maybe they would have got Cliff Kingsbury to go to Chicago with Caleb, how that would have looked. Instead, he's in Washington with Jaden, and look at Jaden's growth and progression. His numbers like number one in the postseason right now amongst quarterbacks and a lot of statistical categories. So, and he's doing it against good teams. You know what I'm saying? So, to go into the number one seed's house and not just beat them by
they
14,
beat him up.
belt to ass, like we like to say in play call.
Yeah.
He's the second rookie quarterback to take down the number one seed. The first one is Joe Flacco. So it's one of those things you don't see often. You don't see it often, and I think it's good. That was Saturday night's game, but Saturday afternoon we had Texans at Chiefs. We all thought the Chiefs was going to win. We didn't really give the Texans a chance. It was a close game though. It was 9 points. Some calls there that everybody's talking about now. A lot of people want to commentate and say, hey, they need to review these things. Um, and I know you and I have talked about how it shouldn't come down to a play call. It shouldn't come down to a flag. But the Chiefs, they looked like they were in command. And when you got a guy getting sacked over 8 times in a game, you're not going to win that game. What was your take on that game right there?
Like you said, the roughing the passer calls. I hate the roughing the passer calls. Both of those calls, I don't think were roughing the passer.
Mm-mm.
I read it this morning that I guess the officiate the head of officiating commented on it, and they said the second one they grazed his helmet. Like you're telling me grazed the helmet is a roughing the passer, something that needs to be revisited in the offseason. If not, make it reviewable because you know things that look in real time that they look like and look both of these. I don't think they were roughing the passer, but I mean to me it's Brady's to blame. No, I'm serious because when he went out for the year in the
Yeah.
first game of the year, ever since then they've been really protecting the quarterbacks because the team they see how a team is affected when they lose. Of course,
Mhm.
even worse, a star quarterback. You know what I mean? So of course they're going to protect Mahomes, but I think they're taking it way too far if they're protecting the quarterbacks like that. If they slide late, they shouldn't get a flag. They shouldn't get a roughing the passer. They
And
should
that's what
not
he
get that.
did.
They're a
He
runner
slid
at
late.
that point.
Yeah, he slid late. And, we can say what we want. I sometimes listen to what the commentators are saying. And you know how they got that the referee or ex-ref
Yeah,
made a call. And if you listen to what they said on that when he slid late, they were like, that shouldn't be a flag. He slid at the last minute. They were coming in. I didn't see him graze his helmet. It looked like they hit each other's helmets. They didn't hit him.
but that's what I'm saying. You see it this much that okay, they touched it, but
Yeah,
like, what are
but
you
but it
talking
was a
about?
flag, no. And if you look, they said he was playing with the defense, trying to get extra yardage. And when he's
Yeah,
about to get hit, he went down. Immediately after that, one of the few plays after, he runs to the sideline. He stops before going out of bounds. And then when the defender pushed him, he flopped, hoping to get
yeah.
a flag. Brady's situation, yes, it changed it. But I also saw that game, and the defender lunged forward as he was already down on the ground, and he was below the knee. It hit the knee. So that's a flag. You know what I'm saying? I think concussion plays a part on it. And I feel like he's like you said, he's the hot hand. He's the face of the NFL. The Chiefs, Andy Reid, they're the face. Mahomes got 31 calls for roughing the passer. Brady's had 35 in his 25-year career. He's getting them at alarming rates. And those penalties, not to say that it was going to help the Texans win. I'm not saying that. But in other games, we've seen them get penalties that help them win. You know, um, I think the Texans did okay. I think their defense did okay. Um, but if you can't protect the quarterback you got Spagnola. And once he finds out how to get to you, he's going to get to you. He did it to Brady in the Super Bowl twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that he's that's what he does. You know, he finds that weakness, and they found it, and they were getting at CJ Stroud. But how confident are you in the Chiefs right now? Like in your honest opinion?
I don't think it's a walk in the park this week. They got a Bills team that's on a mission this week. Um, so we'll see. I'm not confident in either one. That's not a game I would put money on and feel comfortable about it. But it's not going to be a walk in the park. This is a Buffalo team they're hungry. They feel
Yeah.
like this is the year. They had a great year, so this is what they were playing for. They probably would have won at home field, but they did beat them this year. So before, and it wasn't the week 17, they rested everybody. They beat them in the middle of the year.
Yeah, nah, they
So
beat him with they people in there.
they're confident that they can. I'm sure they're
That's
confident that they can take them down.
Yeah, we'll talk about that game after. I because I think I think that deserves some I want to say not deep dive, but more elaborate discussion on it. Rams and Eagles. Rams, I feel look like they just don't know how to play in cold weather. To be honest with you, Eagles won that one 28-22. The home team won. Eagles, I guess did the right thing. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a great game for Jalen, but he won. That's what that matters. You know what I'm saying? Again, he didn't have any turnovers. I don't think he fumbled the ball. So that was it. He played a good game and they won the game. What's your take on that game?
These are the games that the Eagles have been winning. They kind of like outlast the other team. If they don't blow out a team, they kind of like outlast them. Like, look, the Rams are driving. They came up with the Eagles came up with a defensive play to end the game. So the Eagles, to me, that's kind of how they've been playing their games. Um, I don't think this game coming up is something they should take lightly, because look what happened to Detroit. Maybe they took them lightly. I don't know. Maybe they just felt that since they had the bye, they had the number one seed, that it was going to be easy, and they got punched in the mouth. So we'll see what happens. See what happens this week. It should be. I think that both games are going to be, pretty competitive. No blowouts. That's what I think.
Bills and Ravens. I mean, I feel so going to the Eagles. Like I said, I think they played the game they had to play. The defense came through. That sack
Yeah.
at the end got to Stafford. Then that last throw Stafford had, I don't know if he was under pressure. I don't know what happened, but to me, it's a throw that Stafford can make. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. They lost. Eagles did what they had to do. I don't know about going into this weekend thinking it's going to be a cakewalk against the Commanders. This is the third time y'all played. The first time y'all played, y'all beat them. The second time, I think Jalen went out or they sat him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
And they still won. I mean, they won the game against the backup, but this is a team that went into to Detroit and took out the number one seed. They're flying high right now. You beat like the what number six, the number four seed or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ravens and Bills, bro. So when we had this conversation, we talked about it being like a heavyweight fight. We was talking about it's gonna come down to probably mistakes. It's gonna be who's gonna want it more. A lot of discussion is about Lamar and his performance. Allen didn't even have 200 yards passing. Uh, he didn't have a turnover. He had a basic average game for his type of quarterback. Lamar threw for 254 yards, two touchdowns. I think he had two interceptions or one interception, one lost fumble.
Fumble, yeah.
Yeah. In your opinion, did the Ravens lose that game, or did the Bills just win it? You know what I'm
A
saying?
little bit of both. I don't. You can't take away from the defense for forcing the fumble on Mark Andrews, but then he's wide open in the end zone. The throw could have been better, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
For the 2-point conversion, he drops it. So that's a he for that's unforced error right there on Andrews on the drop. But the fumble that they forced on them, give credit to Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? The interception that Lamar threw, there's like a miscommunication between him and Bateman. But you can't. Buffalo's not going to say, "Ah, nah, don't worry about it." We know I
Yeah.
wasn't on the same page. That's that you gotta execute at this time right now. All teams that won this weekend did not turn the ball over, and the Ravens looked sloppy.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with. I don't think it had anything to do with how Buffalo was this great defense. They kind of beat themselves. But I don't want to take too much away from Buffalo either.
Yeah, you're giving the professionals credit for what they do. Obviously, we're not out there doing it. But I when I was watching the game, the mistakes I saw, I'm like, this is not the Ravens teams we were seeing. He had 4 giveaways the whole season, 4, and it's like I don't know. For me, Lamar, the Ravens. I'm gonna say Ravens because I'm not gonna put it on Lamar. But I feel like the Ravens get into this position of this big game and they don't show up. Last year in the AFC Championship, they ran the ball 5 times, knowing that the Chiefs were susceptible to the run. You didn't run it about only 5 times. This game between the fumbles, the interception, yeah, and he bounced back in the second half, and he had a great run. But really, should it come down to a 2-point conversion in the rain, in the snow, in cold weather? Some people might say the throw was good. Some people might say the throw was not great. Some people say, well, that's a tight end, all pro tight end, first team, all that good stuff. He'll catch that ball 9 out of 10 times. He just didn't catch it that one time. You know what I'm saying? I feel that the Bills didn't do anything to give the game away, and they just took whatever the Ravens gave them, straight up. The Ravens moved the ball up and down the field in the second half with no problem. But when you give a person, you spot them, 2 touchdown lead in a sense, almost a third one.
3 turnovers, man.
Yeah, and 3 turnovers in the playoffs is not. You're not. That's not gonna lead. It's hard to overcome that. Ain't too many quarterbacks overcoming that. Lamar Jackson is 0-10 when being down at the half in games. I think in games. It's like he doesn't show up, man. He doesn't show up in the big games.
It sucks because it looks that way when you look at the numbers, but like what I just said, they had three turnovers and it came down to a 2-point conversion. So Baltimore beat themselves
Yeah.
more than Buffalo beat them. Because if they had all those mistakes and were still within a catch of tying the game, you know, I wouldn't say they don't show up, but it's not easy in the playoffs. Playoffs are not for everybody. And they played well. If they got blown out, I would say yeah, they don't belong,
Yeah.
But came down to that last play.
So I
Because who
got
knows
to.
what happens after that play?
Well, some people say, because of the momentum they had in the second half, you didn't want to see him in overtime
Exactly.
because they probably would have got the ball, went ahead and scored, and Josh Allen would never got back on the field. But this is the playoffs. He would have got a turn to try to score a touchdown because they changed the rule for him since that AFC Championship loss to the Chiefs. To elaborate a little bit more, Lamar Jackson didn't get to the Super Bowl, didn't get to the AFC Championship game. In your opinion, having the season he had statistically, was this season a waste for him?
Yeah. At this point, again, the stat is out there. The only player with 2 MVPs and no Super Bowls. So yeah, it's a waste. I'm sure he's thinking everything. Nothing matters more than a Super Bowl at this point.
Yeah.
He's accomplished everything. Heisman. He's got 2 MVPs in the NFL. So yeah, I think the next step is that. Mahomes. He can put himself in that category with Mahomes, but can't get over that hump, and he needs to get there, man. It's too good not to. It's too good not to. But there's a lot of competition in the AFC. There's a lot of competition.
We've talked about this. I think it's a waste too. I was watching some takes here and there, and some people feel like it wasn't a waste. And I think what one person said was the best thing was what was his goal in the first place, right? If your goal January 1 is that you want to be, let's say, 240 pounds of solid muscle, and you get to December 31st and you're 220 pounds and you didn't get to your goal, then the year was a waste in a sense because you didn't attain what you wanted to attain. He wants to win a Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Like he has two MVPs. He's a unanimous MVP when there's only two of them, him and Brady. And people, we all say that we've never seen a Lamar Jackson before, right? We've seen a Michael Vick, we've seen a Donovan McNabb, we've seen a Cam Newton, but we've never seen a Lamar. And to not be able to get to that hump or over that hump and get to the big game, at least get there, it's a failure in my sense, in my opinion. Excuse me, for the talent that he brings and what he's done. Um, Unfortunately, not everybody's winning Super Bowls. If you go back, maybe what 5 years, 10 years. If you go back 8 years, consistently winning is probably Brady and Mahomes. You might have the Stafford, you might have the Nick Foles in there. You might have hell, I don't even know who else is in there, but consistently winning it is Mahomes. They're always going. So it's like and we've seen this, especially like Phillip Rivers had the number one defense, number one offense, and he made the playoffs. You Some quarterbacks have it. They get to the right spot, they get everything going in momentum, and everybody else loses out in the process because they're so far ahead of it that by the time teams catch up, they done won about 3 or 4 or 5 chips, and it's like, okay, probably like Burrow could get injured again, never play again. Josh Allen, whatever. So you're only as good as the year you play in. So I think it was a waste too. Um, so let's talk about this upcoming week real quick. It's about Commanders and Eagles. I think is a more. I want to leave the Chiefs and Bills to last. Commanders and Chiefs. I think did they have the point spread already or no? Let me see.
Commanders and Eagles.
Yeah, Commanders Eagles. I think
I
Eagles
think
are up by
it's six.
6. Yep,
Yeah.
6. What you think?
Last week I took them. I took the points with the Commanders last week. Didn't think they would win, but I took the points. Same thing with the Rams. This is playoff time. I don't anticipate. I mean, there was a blowout. I mean, they kind of blew these guys out. Commanders blew out the Eagles. I mean, the Rams. I mean, the Lions. But I don't know. It's a tough one. It's playoff time, man. It's playoff time. This one I don't anticipate being a high scoring game. But we'll see because Jaden Daniels is they're in a rhythm. They're in a really good rhythm right now. Um, and he said he's the best quarterback in the playoffs right now,
Yeah.
statistically. So
What do
interesting.
you? If you're the Commanders, you're Dan Quinn. You're going into Philadelphia. You're not worried about the cold. You play in the cold. Well, you're worried about the environment. You got Saquon out there who's playing phenomenal football. What is your game plan to try to win this game?
Stop Saquon. Stop him. I mean, not that it's oh yeah, just do this and you're gonna stop him. It's not. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's an easy thing to do, as we've seen, but it should be all about let them win through the air. We don't let him. If he does what he did to the Rams, it's over because the offense has been going through them. The offense is Saquon right now. They're more rounded on the Commanders offensively, and not running with the running backs. Even though Robinson scored 2 touchdowns, they're running with Daniels, and he's also hitting McLaurin. He's hitting Zach Ertz. So
And Brown.
and Diami Brown. So it's gonna be interesting to see this one. Man, look, right now, Commanders got the house are playing with house money right now.
Yeah.
No one expected anything from them.
Yeah.
That to me, it always seems that the teams with the expectations, the pressure is all on them. So the pressure is on both teams in the AFC, and the pressure is on the Eagles. Like, look, we got home field. We can't let it slip through our fingers now
Mhm.
just because this team is hot right now. And, Buffalo's trying to get over the hump, and KC's trying to make it to the Super Bowl again so they could possibly three-peat. So those three teams have the most pressure. These guys are playing loose. They're playing easy.
To me, the pressure is on the Eagles. You're right. I agree. Um, And I agree. I would try to contain Saquon
Yeah,
and
try.
and force
Absolutely.
Jalen to beat you with his arm. Uh, AJ Brown had some drop passes that game. He didn't necessarily like playing in that weather. Most likely it's going to be cold again, and it's snowing in Pensacola and New Orleans, so you know something's coming if it's snowing down there. um, so I think that the weather's going to be. Let's see. Right now they're talking about 38 degrees up there for the game.
That's nothing. I mean, listen, I'm from New York. It's cold today.
Yeah.
14 degrees is cold. To me, 38 degrees is not
Oh,
cold.
nah, bro. It's nothing. It's
Football players, 38 degrees is not cold when you're
yeah.
playing football.
So we'll see. I mean, but things can change between now and then. But I do agree. Commanders are playing with house money. I think the good thing on Jaden too, there's no tape on him. You got a whole season, but it's not like, a lot of times second year is different because now people can study you. I think he's grown and kind of overcame little things here, but like he's not, how can I put it? He's the quarterback that's a rookie, but he's playing like a veteran because he's adjusting and growing as we see the game go. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but I'm saying if you go in there sleeping, you might find yourself losing and being in Cancun while they're going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? First off, like you said, they haven't been to NFC Championship game since '91. I think that was against the Buffalo Bills, right? One of the Super Bowls they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they won.
and I'm talking about Buffalo lost. The
But
the
oh yeah.
the command. Well, back then the Redskins won because the Buffalo won four times. What Cowboys won twice, Giants won, and Redskins won. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, Dan Quinn's doing great. That team is playing good. We talked about the receivers. Look, they're catching everything. Like I'm looking at that Lions game, and these guys weren't dropping a pass downfield to save their life. Covered, double covered, it doesn't matter. I mean, that 70-yard screen pass that McLaurin took to the house, bro. How did he should never got that off? You know what I'm saying? And he got it. So, and I think the biggest thing is now you got to account for Jaden's running and his mobile ability to get out of the pocket and scramble. So, I mean, defense for the Eagles is good up front. They're good. They're a good defense.
Definitely, yeah.
Um, it is a rookie that they're playing. So, Vic Fangio gave him a lot of credit. He said he's probably the best rookie he's seen, probably or best quarterback he's ever seen. They're all going to say that. Vic is a good defense coordinator, so we know he's going to come with something. But sometimes when you got that touch, man, when you got that I don't want to say luck, but when that good energy's on your side and really everything's hit, these teams, you said it best. They playing with house money. McLaurin didn't think he was going to be in an NFC Championship game.
None of them did.
You got Brandon Marshall
Yeah.
played for I don't know how many seasons and never made a playoff. This guy's in the NFC Championship game, to possibly go to the Super Bowl. And if you think these guys are not going to give it everything they got when they wasn't even supposed to be there, you got nothing coming. It's like you said, everybody got a plan to get punched in the face. And I feel like the Commanders got to come out the gate and punch and hit hard and make Philly think twice about what they're doing. It's really on offense. I think if they can get, like I said, contain Saquon, you're not gonna stop him. He's playing good too. Like he's revived, bro. Like the dude's out there looking amazing. Pause. Um, if you can get Philly to get into a shootout contest with you, and them receivers don't show up, it's not gonna be a blowout, but it could be one of those plays, one of these games that come down to one or two plays that we could have made and didn't get it. So, I'm gonna go with Eagles though at home. I don't think 6 is it. I might go a field goal 3, but we'll see. 47.5 is the total points. So,
All right.
yeah, I think that's doable. Bills and Chiefs is at 6:30 on Sunday. That's the game. Chiefs are 8-0 at home. Bills are 5-4 away. Chiefs are favored by 2 points at home.
About right.
Yep. Mahomes hasn't been his best this season. The team found a way to win. I saw that in the game against the Texans, they went to Kareem Hunt more than did Pacheco in the run game. And I like Kareem Hunt, so I was kind of happy to see it. We talked about it. I think Bills need to put the pressure on them and not let off. Bills got to keep scoring, moving the ball, take whatever's given. Don't give up turnovers to the defense. Don't make stupid decisions, and I think they could pull out the win. You know, I don't think they had Hollywood Brown when they played the first time,
No,
and they didn't have DeAndre Hopkins either.
they didn't have any of them.
Yeah,
I mean, they
so
have the only one they had was Xavier Worthy. It
yeah,
was in Buffalo as well.
so but I think this is gonna make it. It's I think this is gonna come down honestly to the quarterbacks, and it's gonna be Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen gonna put the cape on and save the day, or is Mahomes gonna always find that way to keep it to a one score? And make the right play at the right time to get the team in position to win. What's your take on it?
This is what Buffalo, like, Baltimore would have been in the same position. This is what they were playing for, to get back. They knew it goes through KC. KC had the 1 seed, and they're the champs, so they knew it's gonna have to go through them regardless. Um, they were both kind of, shooting to be where they are at right now. Very similar to me is to the Eagles. I think both games are similar. The home teams, it's not going to be easy. They're going to have to earn this one. You know what I mean? Both of them. And it's playing clean football. Buffalo played clean football against the Ravens. Any whatever team wins this week, both games, that's what it's going to take to advance.
Yeah,
Mistakes are going to kill you in the playoffs, and it killed the Ravens.
killed the Lions, bro.
Yeah, it
A
killed the
pick
Lions.
six.
The Lions got beat down so bad. It's not. I know they made mistakes, but they couldn't stop these guys either.
Yeah,
The Ravens were a 2-point conversion away from tying the game.
yeah,
Not saying going to go to overtime. You don't know what these guys would have did when they got the
yeah,
ball
yeah,
with a
yeah,
minute and change. But those games to me are very different because they made mistakes, but they didn't stop these guys either. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Baltimore made mistakes, and they were still in the game.
yeah. Baltimore, and that's what somebody said. Shady McCoy said that about Lamar. He said, "Look, I don't care how you start; it's how you finish." And he was a pass away from tying it up.
Yeah.
And so he did his job. He brought the team back. He can't do it all himself. I get it. Um, but again, I think when you playing the Chiefs, because of everything we've discussed, the play calling, the penalties that go in their favor, um, you have to kind of play a perfect game.
Josh is a flopper too, so maybe they'll get a
Yeah,
taste of
yeah.
their own medicine. You know what I
He is
mean?
a flopper. He is. And what's crazy is people defend LeBron when he flops because he's like, oh, he never gets the call because he's such a big player. I think Lamar and or Josh and them guys are the same way. The taller you are, the bigger you are, they're not gonna like Big Ben was guilty of that. They don't get the call sometimes because they're so huge. Pause, but um, he flops. He does,
It does the same shit.
and he'll look at the refs and be like, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?" So I'm interested to see this game. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that honestly, I hope the Bills win. I would like to see Josh get to a Super Bowl. Whether he wins it or not, that's something totally different. But we're judging a lot of these guys based on where they gotten to, and we give Purdy, Burrow, Jalen Hurts a lot of credit because they at least went to the Super Bowl. Um, Josh hasn't, Lamar hasn't, and you're getting paid like a player that has been. So I think it's time you either put up or shut up. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, you got to get over that hump. And I think that once you beat that, because he's 0-3 against the Chiefs in the postseason against Patrick. And I hate when they do that because Josh doesn't play Patrick and Patrick doesn't guard Lamar. It's defense against offense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But quarterbacks get the wins and losses, so I get it. But if you need to do it once to know that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? If not, you're not gonna accomplish it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at, man. So you got Chiefs or Bills?
Don't know. I don't know, but they're both very. I believe both games could go either way. To be quite honest.
I think so too. I wouldn't be surprised if the visiting team wins in both games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could definitely go either way. Not sleeping on the Commanders anymore. I picked Detroit last week, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So
And I think the reason is because that's what's going to kill these guys is not is sleeping. is going in there thinking, hey, we got in the bag, we beat them already. You know, the Chiefs thinking we're in Arrowhead and they never beat us in the postseason and get comfortable when you find yourself in Cancun for the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So I think it can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills won, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders pull out an upset. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Dan Quinn pull something out of his butt and make it do what it do on defense. And because like you said, he calls the defense.
Yep.
Knows what to do. You know, for me, and I could only go to the team that just like you had Tom Coughlin with the Giants, and he was an OC back in the day. Belichick was a DC, but started off special teams and moved up to DC with the Giants. And there was times you would see Belichick on the sidelines. He would never talk to the offense. But there was times you see him with the tablet, talking to the defense or talking to the special teams on what they could do better. So you see these guys, Robert Saleh, McVay, Andy Reid, Shanahan, all these guys that are true coordinators for a certain position, not facilitators, and know how to manage coaches. They get involved. So you never know. He's probably been studying tapes the whole time. They already played twice. I think both times they had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon. I think the second time they didn't have Jalen because he went out, right? He went out.
He got hurt in game.
Yeah, in the game. So, yeah. So we'll see what's up, man. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good weekend, I hope. I don't hope it's not. I don't mind blowouts, but sometimes I want to see that down to the wire game that it really could have went anyway. You know what I'm saying? No, refs don't mess it up with throwing flags unless it's really needed. Let them play the game out and go from there. You know what I'm saying? And let's see what happens. But you got anything else you want to say, man? I mean, that's pretty much the playoffs for us.
Hopefully they change that bullshit call, all that nonsense about sliding late, not reviewable. They got to change that in the offseason. It's unwatchable to see the defense get a stop and then the dude slid too late, but they're giving him a roughing the passer anyway. They got to do something about that.
So, Rich Eisen said that he feels all penalties 15 yards or more should be reviewable, which is only pass interference, roughing the passer, unsportsmanlike conduct, stuff like that. Because holding is 10 yards on offense. Offsides is 5 yards. Pass interference is wherever the ball was spot when it happened. You know what I'm saying? If it's on the offense, it's just I think a 10 or 15-yard penalty. So it's not that many calls that got to get reviewed. I feel, and again, I'm not saying the Texans would have won if they didn't get 30 yards added on, because at the end of the day, that's on defense. What we talk about, and what hurt you was on offense when you can't protect your quarterback. But it's hard for a team that's already having to play elite players in their home to win a game, and I also got to worry about the you know what I'm saying, the head coaches and the refs. And they were saying they had pulled IG. People got time. I don't. But they went on there and they found Mixon said what he said. And I think one of the guys on the Chiefs was like, what happened to grown men just taking the L's and not worrying about something like that. And they went back and found the game where the Chiefs, I want to say, lost due to
lost to Buffalo when Kelsey did the lateral to Kadarius Toney. And then the first thing Mahomes said to Josh Allen was, "Yo, can you believe that call?"
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I get it. But they've propped Mahomes. I mean, not that he hasn't earned it because he's a 3-time champ, but they prop Mahomes up to thinking that he's untouchable. And then when something finally doesn't go his way, he's complaining about it. So I get it. It sucks that the refs don't hold it, and then they doubled down on it because they spoke to the head of officiating and they said, yeah, they made the right calls on both those calls. That sucks if that's the case because it's not fun to watch. So that's my only thing. Hopefully, the games, I think both games will be good this week. I just hope that in the offseason they do something about that, the phantom roughing the passer calls, because it's, takes away from the game.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope they fix it. I hope that the commentators talking about it gets the eyes of the people and where it matters. I think New York should interject a lot when it comes to that. They're seeing it.
Replay assist. Yep. Go to replay assist.
They don't have to waste the challenge flag. They can just call and say, hey, no, I think he slid late. I don't think that's a pass interference. picked the flag up. I don't think that was a holding on on the corners. I don't think that was pass interference. Because sometimes, they sell it, bro. They sell it. Like when they underthrow the ball to make the receiver come back and the defense, I'm running with you. I can't see behind me. And then you come back and we run into each other. That's a flag.
It
You know?
it should be it should be the same way a lot of these calls are judgment calls. It should be a judgment call. It's from what I understand, supposed if they flop, it's supposed to be like unsportsmanlike conduct. And that's what it should be.
Yeah.
You do that, they'll stop doing it. Stop that flopping shit. That shit Mahomes, and I like Mahomes, man, but like that shit he pulled on the sideline, that shit was whack, yo. That shit was really whack.
No, that shit was whack. And they I feel like they should throw a flag there on him.
Yes.
And I agree with you. If you throw the flag and you start finding them, they're gonna stop doing it.
They'll stop doing it.
And what's happening is, bro, it's taken away from these quarterbacks that are really getting hit. Like Goff took a hit when he
Yep.
threw that pick six, and they said it. The commentators, even the ex ref that was up there, the officiating guy was like, "Yeah, they should have threw a flag. It shouldn't have been a touchdown. It should have been called back 15 yards. Let the interception stand, 15
Oh
yard,
yeah.
and let it go." And honestly, I think that messed with Goff a little bit afterwards, and then he finally caught himself up. Uh, but yeah, hopefully we'll see. We'll talk about it more this offseason because they got to have the owners meeting, coaches meeting, and see what's up. So we'll go from there and check it out. We'll talk about it more this offseason. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have things to talk about with these rule changes. But all right, man, that's it, man. Conference championship weekend coming up Sunday, 3:00. Commanders at Eagles, Bills at Chiefs at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully we get a good game and we'll know who's going to the Super Bowl. By Sunday night, we'll know who's going where. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If I got to ask you a question though before we go, if you were the Eagles or the Commanders, who do you want to face?
From the AFC.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
Okay. And if you were the Bills or the Chiefs, who do you want to face?
Commanders.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I like that. I think Eagles defense is a problem for certain teams. You know what I'm saying?
I would want to face the Commanders just because, and I know he hasn't been playing like one, but still a rookie quarterback. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm Spags, I want to face a rookie quarterback instead of Barkley and the dual threat of Barkley and Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? And then, of course, like you said, the defense.
Yeah.
And I'd rather face the Chiefs because Mahomes is more, I mean, Allen is a little bit more dangerous than Mahomes right now.
Yeah, no, he's feeling it. He's the hot
Yeah.
hand. You know what I'm saying? But I think honestly he's a more threat than Mahomes.
Right now, yes.
He can throw the ball, and honestly, you got to count for him running, and he's not scared to run the ball,
Nope.
and he's not scared to run into defenses. He'll put that shoulder down, but he's what 6'5", 240 or 6'7"? Yeah, 6'5", 240. That dude's a powerhouse. Pause. You know what I'm saying? The dude's you're not stopping. Once he's going downhill, you're not stopping him. It's crazy. But all right, man. Tune in next week, Tuesday. We'll be talking about. Actually, no, I'll be flying to Cali, bro. So we might have to record Monday because
Right.
I'll be flying to Cali for convention for San Jose. So yeah, man. So we'll probably have to record Monday and we'll be talking about the Super Bowl and what we think is gonna happen. Actually, no, we'll just cover the games because we got a whole nother week to record for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we got time. But it's Offsides Podcast, man. Tune in, like, subscribe, let us know we could do better. Until next week. Peace.